So I'm going to go over nades for train, all the ones I think they're important enough to know anyway. So the most important ones for T side in any execute are sandwich, e-box, connector, and ivy. I'm just going to show you how to throw those quickly now. The sandwich smoke has come to this wall along this line. The height of that into the dark part, that will smoke sandwich. E-box smoke is come to the middle of this circle, along this line here, straight up into the middle of the sun. Connector is up on top of this box, to the right side of this box here, to the height of that building. That'll land in connector. And the last one is probably the trickiest, but if you're looking for this train along the left, look for the shadow, the train track to just after the shadow, to the left of it. Looking at these boxes, the one on the furthest right, the top right of that one, you're going to run and you're going to jump through when you hit this top line here. So from here, top line, running jump through. That's going to bounce off here, off this train, and land ivy. Just be aware with this smoke that people can kind of peek around the edge of it, but they are pretty exposed while they're doing it. It's a good cover. So altogether you're going to have sandwich, e-box, connector, and obviously this ivy smoke. And it's just going to make sight a lot easier. Be aware people like to sit in the smoke sometimes to spam it, but it's basically just going to limit the CTs to either playing on top of the trains, back red, or along the bomb train somewhere. There's mollies you can do that make this sight take even easier. So running out of T-mid, if you're the first person, I generally recommend Flaming Hell. It's a pretty good one to always throw. The second person, or the first person, doesn't really matter, can throw one. Stop sign, it's just going to stop anyone trying to peek this angle. Get out of that before I kill myself. Another kind of odd molly to throw if you're kind of one of the last people coming out of sight is to kind of push up in this corner, where this kind of, I don't even know what this is, on this train. Just come up on the right side of this straight line here to the height of this thing here, so roughly there, and you're going to do just one step and a throw, and that lands mid-bomb. I'm going to put God mode on before I kill myself in the molly, so it stops anyone from playing around here. So obviously you imagine that flame, that flame, that flame, as well as all the smokes, does not leave the CTs many options. Flashbangs to go with that. A lot of people obviously just throw ones out like this. There's nothing wrong with that. The only issue with these ones is they go quite deep, so your teammates sitting in T-mid will get blinded to a flashbang like this. I generally find it a little bit better if you're going to flash your teammates out to throw them flat against the wall. So any variation of a flash like that, but basically just so it goes as tight to this wall as possible, so that as your teammates are running out, they don't get blinded to them. So now I can be standing here and I don't get blind at all. It does blind me if I'm exactly below it, like here. Even if I'm not looking directly at it, it will half blind me, but generally I'll be in front of it. I'm just going to be rushing out anyway, so those are the best flashes to throw for that. Ivy, very good set of nades to always throw for ivy. So you want to make sure that you're not going to get AWP first, so I generally recommend coming on top of this box and kind of jiggling, just to see if someone's either going to be there, or potentially pushing with a flashbang. So as you're running up, you just want to be looking away, have your gun out, clear this quickly, and then if you don't see anything, you can jump across. It's kind of the safest way to do it. Or if there is somebody there, you can just throw a flashbang kind of like this. Any type of flashbang doesn't really matter, just to get across. Once you're in this corner, the back corner of ivy, best nade set just for one person to use that will always get ivy control is looking at this arrow, this downward arrow. You just want to put your crosshair in the middle of it. You're going to run and you're going to let go when you hit the top of this line here. So that's this arrow. You're going to run, let go when you reach that. That's just going to block off that side of ivy. That does leave a little bit of a gap in it, but it's not a huge issue. And then after that, you want to couple that up with a molly just like this. So push yourself into this wall, just the left side of that light along the top line of this box. It doesn't have to be exact. That's going to molly off the other side. So what this is going to do is it's going to stop. If the smoke like this comes down and an AWPer is playing ivy, they'll see that smoke come from that side and they'll post up on an angle like this. So having a molly come down here is going to pressure them off the angle. So what I generally do after I've thrown that molly, so I've thrown this smoke, thrown this molly, I'm going to wait a second for the molly to pop, maybe even flash if I think there's someone standing in it, and give the ticks. And I'm going to peek up, clear this angle, and then I want to sit here so I can hold for pushes here while this smoke is still up and kind of catch them in an awkward angle. But even if you don't do that, just throwing that utility makes them very afraid of Ivy. It's a very good set to throw. For ladder, there's a lot of different flashbangs that people use for ladder. Like people like to use some fancy kind of pops, like lining up with this line here and coming to the vent and along the bottom line in line with this pole here, putting your crosshair right there and letting it bounce so it kind of flashes you into ladder, so you can line that up quite quickly and flash yourself into ladder so you can peek with it. I generally don't think this is that good of a flashbang though, or any flash like this, because people will see the flashbang coming or hear it being pulled, look away, wait for it to pop, and then turn back and shoot you as you jump down afterwards. So I think the best way of always flashing ladder is to throw a flashbang like this and then peeking with it. So you'll always catch. I've killed so many people like this where they're standing here, they see the flashbang, they turn away, and as they turn away you jump down and you shoot them as they look away. It's a pretty consistent way of killing people ladder. So the safest way to do this is not just to run out here with a flash and kind of peek this, because there could be someone in this angle or this angle looking up and trying to shoot you. So the safest way of clearing ladder is to jump over like this with your knife out. Could have flashbang, it doesn't really matter. Just jumping over just to see if anyone's in those close positions. If they are, you can spam through here. You can spam through here to clear them out. You can nade it. You can do whatever you want. And then once you know it's clear, you can come into the flashbang and jump down with it. For upper B, you can throw a flashbang for your teammates to take up a B control. So you come to the first window, second window, and the wall just after the second window, anywhere along this line, and anywhere along the top of this sign, you're going to throw a flashbang. That's going to help a teammate peek this corner for anyone that's going to be rushing up ramp or holding an angle like this. Equally, you can do that for yourself, and this is a very good nade set to use again up a B controls. You're going to run with a flashbang, and once you get to this vent, you're going to kind of aim quite high up in the air and right click that flashbang. You're going to look away as you jump down, and that's going to do basically the same thing, stop anyone rushing. What I like to couple that flashbang up with when I'm running is a molly. So I'll generally throw a flashbang like that, jump, molly out, molly up, peek behind this wall to get my gun out, so it's the safest way, and then re-peek while that molly's up, and then come and clear this angle like this. You can also spam then this wood into that common position. A lot of people like to sit back here on B, so that's a nice little spam to do as well. But that'll give you a B control. This molly obviously stops. Warpers like to come at the start of the round and peek this angle. For an actual B execute, obvious, most basic smoke is to just smoke out here like this. Any variation of that, that's always very good. Nice flashbang to do with that, as long as you do it quickly, you don't spend too much time here, is to get into this little ledge and just right click at the height of that lamp. That's going to pop close, so if anyone's decided to hold a tight off angle, or maybe play top blue or something, it's going to get blind to a flash like that. It's not a bad flash to throw. The best flashes to throw, a lot of people will just throw one like this, which there's nothing wrong with, but that won't blind the close people. I always like to just bounce one off this wall, because it kind of comes out quite close, so anyone top blue is going to get blind to that, whereas this one, if I'm pushed up further, that one's going to go past me and not blind me, whereas this one's going to directly blind me. So it's nice to throw both. A nice smoke to pair with that basic ramp one is to just look for these two lines along the windows at the very back there. Make sure your back is up against this wall, and just block out this right line here from your vision so you can't see it anymore, and then just at the top of that one throw a smoke. This smoke doesn't have to be exact, but it's going to block off this lane. So another good smoke to throw is to get into this corner, aim at the top of this light fixing, the line of this railing, and just one step walk and throw. That's going to smoke off connector. So all together you've got that smoke, you've got this smoke, you've got this smoke, and you can just see as a T when you're running out, there's a lot less angles to worry about. Equally, being upper B, this makes it a whole lot safer because you don't have to worry about connector. So now you just have to worry about summit, maybe close, back blue. This angle, you don't have to worry about just an AWPer instantly killing you here, so you can actually get out upper if that smoke is up. And that's a pretty strong B hold. Very obviously there's mollies like this, but when you're in the post plant, the bomb's planted here. It's always useful to throw. This is a pretty decent molly on top of this railing. Just line up this railing with the light fixing behind it. Throw a molly like that. It's going to land top blue. Obviously they can still play on this half of top blue, so just be aware of that. But that's not a horrible one to throw. Equally you can throw one like this on top of the railing. This is kind of just not a set lineup, but it does back a bomb train as well. Not that this is a super common angle that people sit, but might be worth knowing. For CT side, I'm going to start with B. If you're holding B, this is a pretty popular angle to hold, so if they're coming out and they don't smoke you directly off, a nice flashbang to throw is just to throw it against this and peek with it. It's a nice little one to throw. Obviously save your molly for if they do just smoke out, you can just counter molly them so they can't get out easily. It's always good to throw a HE grenade. I don't have one on me, but it's the same as a flashbang, just to throw a HE grenade up kind of like this, so roughly in the middle of this part of the bomb train here, so just in line with this, in the middle of, stood on the middle of blue train, top of that railing. That's going to do a lot of nade damage to anyone throwing nades here, or equally just throw that exact same nade as a flashbang and you can help someone up a B swing. If you're retaking A and need a flashbang quickly, so say the T's are only just gotten to E box and you need to help your teammates with a flashbang, you can come to this corner here and kind of run, jump, throw anywhere off that silo. And that's going to land up here, and as you can see as a T, you're never going to expect that, and it does fully blind you if I throw it again now. Fully blends anyone pushing E box. For A side, the most important thing is mollies on this map, mollying T mid, and the most common spot that you're going to be looking at to throw most nades for CT side on train is this spot right here, and I always remember it as just being the third gap along, so you've got 1, 2, 3, third gap along, aiming at the top. So if you run out, you're just going to look at the third one, roughly halfway up, or maybe all the way up if you want to make sure you land your molly, and just running through. That's going to land deep in T mid, stop any rushes. The variation of that people throw is just off of here, but why I don't think this molly is that good is as much as it stops a rush, people can still peek behind it without taking any damage, so they can get free kills on someone E-box or someone connector without being in a molly. Variation of that molly is being on the bomb train, so if you're the second person to re-molly T-mid maybe, or to throw a HE grenade, you want to do the same thing, third one along, but just from the middle of the bomb train, so you can re-throw a molly and that's going to land deep, stop anyone pushing. Equally, you can throw flashbangs, so if your teammate is close, you can throw that exact same line, so running anywhere on bomb train, third line along. And that's going to allow your teammate who might be close to swing, clear this angle, as you can see where the flashes land there, anyone here is going to be completely blind. From that same place you can throw a smoke that helps your teammate take T-mid, but you're just going to want to push yourself into this corner here, and just again, that third one along, third gap, always the most common place. It's just going to smoke off T-mid, stop anyone coming in, and it lets you take T-mid control, which is huge. A nice T-mid position to play if you're a CT walking in here, so just get up on top of this pallet and just kind of watch the smoke like this. It's an off angle, not a lot of people check. If you want to take ladder and you're going to help your teammate take ladder, a very nice flash to help your teammate do so. Just come to this corner here along bomb train, look at this vent, top right corner of it, left click throw, that's going to land in ladder, blind anyone who's holding an angle ladder, even in this corner, it's going to blind them. Equally, if you want to help your teammate Ivy with a flashbang, if you're playing around this position, just push yourself anywhere along the back of this train, and in line with this one line here, you're going to want to come up to the bottom dark line here, not the top one. That's going to flash Ivy for a teammate. Equally, if you're Ivy, you can throw a flashbang for yourself, just off green train like this. Little pop along the floor, that'll let you do the same thing. Obviously a good molly when you're Ivy for Olaf is to just throw one over the box like that. That'll stop any T's rushing out early. you can equally throw. Don't know what I'm doing here. You can equally throw from stop sign and molly to Olaf to do the same thing, and you can check to see any feet rushing up Olaf as well. So it's all about flashing your teammates in, helping them out, and mollies to stop early rushes. And that's training.